How about now? Can you hear me now? That really, I think you can hear me now. That really stinks that I had no sound because I'm having such a good time today. Ah, um, Teresa, I owe you a call. Thank you very much. Phil, thank you very much. Carmine, thank you very much. I know people are watching. I'm a little disappointed. Such a good show. All right. Well, I'll finish making two important points. Okay. Hopefully you can hear me now, and I apologize. It's the vagaries of going the vagaries of live streaming. And you know what kills me? I have a list, like a checklist of all the things I'm supposed to do before I go live to make sure that doesn't happen. And things have been going so well for so long, I stopped using the checklist, and here we are, notes down for half the show. So let's talk about simplicity. I have a friend. I have a friend who sounds like a song. I have a friend I was talking to, and she runs a foundation. The money is at a rather large investment firm, and for, it's from what I could gather, the fees are definitely on the high side. Like charging more than I charge. Like it's like not that I charge so much either, but it was a lot, and they really weren't sure what they were getting, and they just felt like they're riding the market up, riding the market down. The problem for this person is she's a fiduciary. She's responsible to her foundation board, and she needs a way to meet her fiduciary, to meet objectives. And when she calls the current firm that manages the foundation money, the response is like, yeah, whatever, leave us alone. Or it wasn't a comfortable reply. So my suggestion is you only need 5 or 6 mutual funds or exchange traded funds. And I said to her, you could just literally go to Vanguard, and I'll help her, right? Just pick 5 or 6 because it depends what you want out of it, right? So she's just going to do that and pick out 5 or 6 funds, an asset allocation model. It's the funds are supposed to be there in perpetuity, and that's how she's going to do it. And she's going to save herself a lot of headaches, and her board at her foundation is going to think she's very smart, which she is, but they're going to really appreciate this. So just because something is very sophisticated and very complex doesn't mean you have a better portfolio. Okay. I use ETFs from iShares and Vanguard and other providers all the time. And I don't worry about it like, you know, wait a minute. Now my picture is frozen. Back to I'm just having like a one hell of a day live stream. Phil, thank you very much for keeping me posted. For letting me know. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to repeat this whole show. Let me start from the beginning. No, I'm not gonna start from the beginning. I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. I got things to do. You got things to do. So that's one thing. The other thing I want to talk to you about is optimism. And those of you who know me, and I know all the people watching who I could see, you know that I have reason to not be optimistic. You know that my loving, beautiful wife of 30 years passed away. You know the struggle, ovarian cancer. And if you know me a long time, we had just an absolute dream, wonderful, beautiful marriage, which is what makes this whole thing tragic. Great mother, great wife, just incredible. And I'm incredibly lucky to have had someone like that. And we met when we were kids. So it's the whole thing is tragic. I'm really giving you some personal stuff. But I'm optimistic because should I get into this on the live stream? Is this like too much? All right, because when I have love and the person, you don't separate them. Love is the person is love. But then when you realize the person is the love could also be more and new, and it gives me optimism to say I am going to meet somebody to love again. I can't wait. And then you give yourself permission to do it. And then you realize you earned your right to be happy. It's an incredibly liberating experience. So I'm optimistic on that. But then I thought, but I want to be optimistic somewhere else. And I'm just going to get into this because I watch a lot of political content on YouTube. I don't watch a lot of TV, so I catch like replays, reruns on YouTube, and I watch both sides of the aisle. and didn't realize that I was actually traumatized. Like I became traumatized from I became traumatized from the hate from both sides, back and forth, the anger, because these stations, these TV stations, they're made to enrage us, to get us watching, and then run commercials. And I'm like, you know what? I've got to turn this stuff off. I'm not getting any new information. I don't need new information, every minute. And I just realized that I'm starting to feel like I'm a traumatized individual. And one of the things I think that made me special as a financial advisor, that makes me special, not made, makes me special, is I've always had a strong sense of optimism to get clients through calamitous markets and calamitous moments in their lives with good financial advice and sometimes personal advice. I'm 55, so I definitely can give personal advice, right? Um, so, having said that, I didn't realize that my optimism had gone away. And because of that, I feel like it changed me. And optimism actually changes the brain, by the way. MRIs have shown that. So I've tuned out the stuff. I'm turning it off. I'm not saying I'm putting my head in the sand and never watching news again. But if I work out for an hour and a half, I don't need to be listening to news for an hour and a half. And I'm starting to get crazy with it. And I was at the supermarket yesterday evening, and the guy behind the deli, who I like, I'm kind of friendly with him, and another customer started having a shouting match over politics at the freaking supermarket. And I'm like, this is what it's come down to. And then I realized, like, I've I've become traumatized by the news. I let the news in, I become negative. And then when I talk to people, including friends and clients and friends, which in really most cases are one and the same anyway, and I'm like, you know what? The people I'm talking to are traumatized also. Everyone's angry, which is a sign of being traumatized. We're depressed, which is a sign of being traumatized. So I'm turning it off, and I am getting back to my optimism in terms of helping you achieve your financial goals, helping you always remember the stock market comes back. You will get through this. And if you've been my client for a long time, you know that's how I've always been. And you know that I'm always right when it always comes back. Doesn't make me special. It just makes me optimistic. But nothing great in the world has been done by people who were not optimistic. Every successful retiree was optimistic about the money they set aside for retirement, about the investments they made. Even when they know that some investments won't work, they're still optimistic, because an optimist realizes, and mark my words, an optimist realizes failure and success are not two different things. What they realize is their failures are actually a part of their success. And when you absorb that and let it sink in, it's really incredibly liberating. And I'm back to my optimism and really reaching out to clients, because I feel like a lot of the optimism, uh, a lot of it may have not disappeared, but you really shrunk, especially with the pandemic, and then working from home and then coming back. And I've had my own trauma in my own life, as you know, and I'm a work in progress. A lot of self healing, some therapy, and all of a sudden, once I realized all of this, I am incredibly optimistic about my future. And I just want to tell you, it feels great. And I want to help you become more optimistic about your future. So, having said that, on a personal note, thank you for hearing me out. I really love doing the show. I love you for watching. Thank you. I'm going to get going now, and I'll be back tomorrow.